Welcome to Living Life Unbinged. I'm your host, Christy McCammon, and I'm here to help you conquer sugar cravings, break free from food obsession, and step into the surrendered and abundant life God has planned for you. Let's dive in. Today's episode is called Fight Through the Bite. And if you've ever said, I don't understand how I lost control again, or I was doing really well until I wasn't, this episode is for you. Here's something that I've had to accept about myself. As someone with a high propensity for sugar addiction, and honestly, an addictive personality in general, I'm only truly in control of one thing when it comes to food: the first bite. After that compulsive bite, I'm no longer the one calling the shots. That bite is. And that doesn't mean I'm weak. It just means that sugar is really powerful. In recovery circles with alcohol, there's a phrase you might have heard: think through the drink. It means don't just think about how it feels in that moment. Think about what will happen after that drink. For me, it's the same concept with sugar and food. So I call it fight through the bite, because that first bite is never just a bite for me. It's a doorway. Let me tell you a real life example. There was a day that I decided to have just a small bowl of granola. Seemed healthy enough. I knew it had sugar in it, and I knew it wasn't part of my food boundaries, but I told myself it's probably fine, it's not that bad, and it's just a little. So I had a little bowl. Then I wanted more. So I had a little bit more. Then I wanted a little bit more. So, yep, you guessed it. I had a little bit more. Before I knew it, that tiny bowl turned into a full-blown binge. That's how it works for me, and maybe for you too. I like to say this acronym and to remember the importance of it. EBM. Every bite matters. EBM. Every bite matters. This is the part we don't usually think through, but it matters. At first, the bite feels harmless, maybe even comforting, but almost immediately something shifts. After that one bite off plan, my brain wants another, not because I'm hungry, but because the craving has been activated. After another, the desire gets louder, not quieter. Then comes one more, and by that point, I'm no longer choosing, I'm simply reacting. Once I cross that line, my mind starts reaching for anything else that I can find off plan. It's literally like a switch got flipped. And I start thinking, well, I already messed up. I'll start over tomorrow. The day is already ruined anyway. And that's when the towel gets thrown in. Now, it's not just granola. It's whatever is available. Sweet, salty, crunchy, anything I can find. I eat past fullness, past comfort, and way past enjoyment. Eventually, I'm not even tasting the food anymore. I'm just trying to quiet something inside of me. By the end of the night, my stomach hurts, my head feels foggy, and my body feels heavy. Mentally, I'm frustrated and angry with myself. Spiritually, I feel really distant from God, not because He moved, but because shame is loud and I tend to isolate. Most sugar addicts do. I go to bed thinking, why do I always do this? And I wake up the next morning exhausted, bloated, ashamed, physically aching. My knees and feet always feel the effects of inflammation first. I promise myself I'll do better today, that I'll try harder, more willpower, more discipline, and that cycle quietly resets, all because of one bite off plan. This is why the fight isn't about the whole day. It's just about that moment, one moment in time. I don't need to win the week. I just need to think clearly through the bite. And that's why we have to remember EBM, every bite matters. Because for someone wired like me, one bite doesn't satisfy, it activates. That's why moderation kept me stuck, and that's why abstinence brought me freedom. This verse grounds me in wisdom instead of shame. 1 Corinthians 10:12. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. That's not condemnation, friends. That's God lovingly saying, guard the doorway. So for me, that doorway is the first bite. Now, in episode 6, I walked you through a temptation plan, what to do when cravings hit. If you haven't listened to that one yet, go back and listen. It's pretty foundational. But today I want to keep it simple. This episode is about thinking through the spiral, fighting through the bite, not arguing with the temptation. So here's what I do. First, I pause. When that thought hits, I stop. I don't negotiate. I don't justify. Then I picture the spiral. I ask myself, what happens after this bite? What does the afternoon look like? How will I feel tonight? And how will I wake up tomorrow? Not dramatically, just honestly walking through the changes that happen if I take that bite. Then I name the truth. One bite is not peace for me. It actually creates chaos. Next, I simply pray, God, help me want freedom more than this bite. And then I delay and walk away. Cravings rise. They feel so intense in the moment, but they do fall. They do settle down within a short time. And most of the time, if I can fight through that one moment, the craving loses its grip. If this episode feels uncomfortably familiar, I want you to hear this clearly again. You're not broken. You're not failing God. You're just dealing with something really powerful. And freedom begins with clarity. Learning to fight through the bite changed everything for me because when there's no first bite, there's no binge. And when there's no binge, there's no shame spiral. And when there's no shame spiral, there's no hiding. It's just peace. So remember, EBM, every bite matters. And if you want support learning how to do this with faith, structure, and grace, that's exactly what we walk through together inside the Life Unbinged programs. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining me today. If you are ready to break free from food obsession and sugar cravings and start living your life unbinged, join me at lifeunbinged.com. If this episode spoke to your heart, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. Until next week, go in grace and walk in freedom.